Welcome back everybody, I'm Jiran Khaber, your host, and today I'm going to react to a video called The Rise and Fall of Automan, Why Its Perfection Destroyed It So Quickly. Now for new updates and content you can visit the links in the description down below, and let's get started. Enjoy.
Don't do anything rash, sir. We're right behind you.
Is that you, Nebish? Where'd you come from?
In 1983, a man made of light walked onto American television. He could pass through walls, drive a car that formed out of thin air, and move with computer-generated precision no home computer on Earth could even dream of. This was Automan. At a time when most arcade games struggled to draw a few hundred shapes on screen, Automan was rendering thousands of glowing polygons in prime time every single week. It looked like the future. Cleaner, faster, more perfect than anything else on television. But that perfection came at a cost no network could afford. Because Automan wasn't just a show with special effects, it was a show built entirely around them. Every scene required computers that barely existed. Every episode burned money like a research project. Every glowing line on his suit was a tiny reminder that the technology of the future had arrived decades too early. And the result was inevitable. 12 episodes, 4 months on the air. Then the lights went out. This is the rise and fall of Automan, the television series that was so advanced, so polished, and so expensive, it destroyed itself just by existing. And it all started with one impossible idea. The holographic projection matrix, the perfect hero no computer could afford. Automan wasn't a man in a suit. He was supposed to be a hologram, a living projection made of pure light, walking around Los Angeles like it was the most normal thing in the world. According to the show's own logic, he was generated from a standard police department computer terminal, something roughly equivalent to an early IBM PC with a few hundred kilobytes of memory. That's the kind of machine that struggled to display text menus. Automan wasn't displaying text. He was a full-body, three-dimensional character with reflective surfaces, moving joints, glowing vector lines, and physical interaction with the real world. Every frame of his body required complex surface calculations, lighting adjustments, and motion tracking. And none of that technology actually existed in television production. Modern augmented reality headsets render a few million light points per frame. A realistic full-scale holographic human would require billions of calculations per second just to stay coherent. Automan did it in 1983 on a weekly TV schedule. The production spent around $60,000 per episode just on graphics, at a time when the total episode budget hovered around $800,000. They weren't just filming a show, they were funding experimental computer graphics research in prime time. And that meant every time Automan appeared on screen, the clock was ticking.
Why did you call me Automan?
It means that you're the world's first truly automatic man.
The Companion. Cursor, Automan's companion construct, demonstrates the ability to fabricate complex machinery from ambient energy. The autocar, autocopter, and autocycle materialize within 2.3 seconds of Cursor's orbital trace pattern. We're witnessing real-time matter compilation at a rate that would require converting approximately 4.7 gigajoules into structured material instantaneously. The physics here aren't just impossible, they're specifically impossible, in ways that reveal the writers understood the problem. Cursor traces geometric patterns before objects appear, suggesting a vector-based construction model similar to how computer-aided manufacturing works today. Each vehicle emerges as a wireframe first, then fills with surface rendering. That's not random visual design. That's someone thinking through the logic of digital to physical conversion. Modern 3D printing technology achieves matter fabrication at roughly 50 cubic centimeters per hour for complex geometries. The autocar's estimated volume of 3.2 cubic meters would require approximately 64,000 hours, or 7.3 years, to print using current methods. Cursor accomplishes this in the time it takes to blink twice. The production team built physical prop vehicles and then composited the formation sequences frame by frame. Each cursor animation required 30 hours of computer rendering time on hardware that cost more than most houses.
It would me, were I in your shoes. Now, if you'll excuse us, man.
The physics problem. Automan can punch through walls, carry human passengers in his vehicles, and physically restrain criminals. This presents an engineering paradox. Light has no mass, yet his constructs demonstrate load-bearing capacity exceeding 2,000 pounds based on observed vehicle occupancy and impact resistance. Theoretical physics offers one speculative pathway: photon pressure amplification. Light does exert measurable force, approximately 3.3 micronewtons per watt, at maximum theoretical efficiency. To achieve the structural integrity demonstrated by the autocar, you'd need a coherent light source outputting roughly 600 petawatts, focused into a 5-meter volume. For reference, that's 400 times the total electrical generating capacity of planet Earth. The alternative explanation involves hard light technology, a science fiction concept where photons are somehow locked into a crystalline lattice through electromagnetic containment. DARPA has actually funded preliminary research into optical matter creation, where intersecting laser beams can trap particles in stable configurations. The results so far: we can suspend individual atoms for fractions of seconds. Automan's designers accidentally predicted research that wouldn't begin for 30 years. They just assumed we'd have solved it by now.
You can do anything because you're not real.
Oh, but I am. I'm as real as you are, just different. And thanks to you, perfect.
Nobody's perfect, Automan.
Well, that's not true, Walter.
The fatal flaw. The series establishes a critical limitation. Automan cannot maintain physical coherence when electrical power fluctuates. His form destabilizes during brownouts. His vehicles lose solidity near aging transformers, and he literally cannot exist in low-power environments. This isn't arbitrary weakness writing, it's surprisingly sound engineering logic. A holographic projection system of Automan's apparent complexity would require continuous power input to maintain the electromagnetic fields constraining his photonic structure. Interrupting that power supply wouldn't cause gradual fade. It would cause immediate cascade failure as the containment mathematics collapse. The show depicts exactly this behavior. Automan doesn't weaken slowly. He glitches violently when power drops. Modern data centers implement uninterruptible power supply systems precisely because even microsecond interruptions cause computational errors. Automan's depicted sensitivity suggests he operates on similar principles, but with physical rather than digital manifestation at stake. The parallel to modern concerns about grid stability and electronic warfare is unexpectedly prescient. This limitation cost the production money too. Every power failure scene required practical effects combined with expensive optical compositing to show Automan's destabilization. His weakness wasn't free to depict.
Nice going, Otto. We've got him.
I'm afraid we've a slight problem, Walter.
What is it?
As long as your witness is in the back of that car.
The transformation sequences. The autocar converts to autocopter in approximately 4.1 seconds through apparent geometric restructuring. The vehicle's mass appears constant, but its volume, surface area, and mechanical configuration change completely. We're watching a topological impossibility, a closed surface transforming into a fundamentally different closed surface without tearing. Mechanical transformation systems exist in real military applications. The V-22 Osprey's tilt-rotor mechanism represents our most ambitious current effort, requiring 12 seconds for a far simpler wing angle adjustment. The autocar to autocopter conversion involves complete drivetrain reconfiguration, rotor blade generation from apparently nothing, and cockpit geometry restructuring while maintaining passenger safety. The math is brutal. Assuming the autocar contains approximately 400 discrete mechanical components in automotive configuration, and the autocopter requires roughly 600 components in flight configuration, Cursor must be generating 200 new structural elements while simultaneously dissolving or restructuring 400 others in 4 seconds.
Automan
That's
reminds me
150
of
component-level operations per second with zero mechanical failure tolerance. Each transformation sequence cost the production approximately $15,000 in 1983 dollars. They could only afford to show it a few times per episode. The impossible was literally rationed.
while I'm turning into a pumpkin.
What?
You know the power problems they've been having out here with this heat wave? I'm afraid we're experiencing a slight brownout.
The control system. Walter Nebeker, Automan's creator, generates and controls the construct from a standard LAPD computer terminal. The depicted hardware includes a monochrome monitor, keyboard, and what appears to be an early graphics tablet. From this equipment, he maintains real-time communication, environmental awareness, and control authority over an autonomous, self-aware entity operating miles from his location. The bandwidth requirements alone are staggering. Real-time bidirectional communication with Automan, including visual feedback, audio transmission, and command execution, would require data transfer rates of approximately 50 megabits per second for acceptable fidelity. The fastest modems in 1983 operated at 9,600 bits per second. Walter would need technology roughly 5,000 times faster than existed. Modern military drone operations require dedicated satellite links, multiple redundant communication channels, and teams of operators to manage far simpler systems. A single Predator drone deployment involves 168 personnel for mission support. Walter runs Automan from a desk with a coffee cup. The show's production actually consulted with early computer graphics pioneers at Robert Abel and Associates. They knew the technical impossibilities. They depicted them anyway because the alternative, showing realistic limitations, would have been boring.
You need oxygen. I need power. You think generating three-dimensional images with substance comes easy? You try it.
I'm sorry.
The Money Pit. Here's where fiction collided fatally with reality. Automan's visual effects required approximately 30 hours of computer rendering time per minute of finished footage. The production used a Cray XMP supercomputer, rental cost $1,000 per hour, alongside custom software that had to be written from scratch because nothing suitable existed. Each episode's graphics budget exceeded the total production cost of contemporary series like The A-Team or Knight Rider. For context, KITT's dashboard displays were practical effects using Christmas lights and analog gauges. Automan's suit required frame-by-frame rotoscoping to add the glowing circuit patterns, plus separate passes for shadow integration, plus manual compositing because digital compositing didn't exist yet. The autocar prop vehicle cost $80,000 to build, then couldn't be used for driving shots because the reflective surfaces interfered with the optical effects. A second, matte-finished version was required. That's $160,000 in vehicles alone. For a series that was hemorrhaging money on computers, ABC was essentially funding industrial research and development while expecting network television returns. The economics were doomed from day one.
And the limousine looked just like that.
Walter, every limousine in the world looks just like that. Besides, the plates are wrong. You can see that.
Not to mention there's no girl here.
The comparison. Knight Rider premiered 1 year earlier with a similar premise: advanced technology fighting crime through a charismatic vehicle. KITT cost approximately $100,000 to build and could be filmed using standard television production methods. Automan's equivalent vehicle setup cost roughly $250,000 and required supercomputer time for every appearance. The technical ambition gap is measurable. KITT's artificial intelligence was depicted through voice acting, practical dashboard lights, and careful camera angles. Automan's intelligence manifested as a fully rendered humanoid figure, requiring constant visual effects support. KITT could appear in unlimited scenes per episode. Automan's screen time was literally rationed by budget constraints. Knight Rider ran for 90 episodes across 4 seasons. Automan ran for 12 episodes across 4 months. The lesson is brutal. Technically superior products fail when production costs exceed sustainable economics. KITT was good enough. Automan was too good to survive. Glenn A. Larson created both series. He knew exactly what he was attempting with Automan. The technology simply wasn't ready to make it affordable.
Look, if the highly placed elected official the girl told Jack about was Judge Farnsworth, well, the whole thing would make sense.
Nonsense is what you mean, Curtis.
The hidden cost. Automan's production techniques directly influenced Tron's sequel development, early CGI television commercials, and the formation of digital effects houses that would later create Industrial Light and Magic's television division. The $720,000 spent on graphics across 12 episodes represented concentrated R&D that accelerated industry capability by estimated years. The techniques pioneered: real-time vector animation, photorealistic light integration, humanoid CGI character rendering, became standard tools within a decade. Automan's failure funded its competitors' success. The production was essentially a technology demonstration, masquerading as entertainment. And ABC paid the research costs without owning the resulting intellectual property. Universal's 2021 rights acquisition suggests the concept retains value. Modern production costs for Automan equivalent graphics, approximately $12,000 per episode using current software. The show finally became economically viable 38 years after cancellation. Automan represented engineering ambition that outpaced engineering economics by 3 decades. The production team correctly predicted volumetric displays, hardlight concepts, and real-time CGI characters, then went bankrupt, proving the concepts worked. Those 12 episodes cost more in inflation-adjusted graphics spending than entire seasons of modern streaming series. The designers understood computational limitations well enough to write them into the characters' weaknesses. That's not lazy writing. That's respect for physics. The power dependency vulnerability remains more scientifically grounded than most contemporary superhero limitations. Automan's failure wasn't creative, it was mathematical. The show simply couldn't exist profitably in 1983. It could now. Which system impressed you most? The holographic projection matrix or the fabrication technology that predicted 3D printing? Drop your analysis below. If you want more impossible engineering breakdowns, subscribe. We're dissecting Knight Rider's actual dashboard specifications next week. Until then, remember, some technology isn't ahead of its time, it's just ahead of its budget.
Doing your own dirty work for a change, hey, Mr. Martin?
Who said that? He did. Where did you come from?
Same place he did.
So that was the rise and fall of Automan, how its perfection destroyed it so quickly. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this series, and I cannot believe they had to put so many hours in just to get the shots right. I mean, the one that stood out for me is the holographic projection of Automan's suit. Man, that is beautiful. And every single episode is written so fantastically, and the visuals is so fantastic. Like Automan, other shows that included only 12 episodes are The Master, The Highwayman, and Street Hawk. All of them had serious potential, and it's just a shame that they didn't continue like we wanted to. But nevertheless, it is what it is, and a short series is better than nothing. And a word of wisdom for today: always do good to others, because you always think of others before you think of yourself. Have a blessed day further, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.